Welcome to Spiritual Insurgency. I'm Jason Lupó, sitting here with my co-host today, just a guy, Jim Miller.
Hello, hello.
Aaron Lujan, out of town, but should be joining us later this week. We have a couple stories today to talk about. The first one, Trump to build a national center for homeless veterans with funds previously spent on housing for illegal aliens. This article is coming out of the Los Angeles Times. Trump executive order envisions housing homeless veterans at VA center in West LA. President Trump signed an executive order Friday directing the Department of Veterans Affairs to create a center for homeless veterans on its West Los Angeles campus. The order set a goal of housing up to 6,000 homeless veterans at the center, which Trump named the National Warrior Independence Center, and ordered federal agencies to ensure that funds that may have been spent on housing or other services for illegal aliens are redirected to construct, establish, and maintain it. Trump ordered VA Secretary Doug Collins to prepare an action plan to create the housing by January 1st, 2028. He also directed Collins to report within 60 days on options like expanding office hours, offering weekend appointments, and increasing the use of virtual healthcare. Too many veterans are homeless in America, the order said. Each veteran deserves our gratitude, yet the federal government has not always treated veterans like the heroes they are. As part of the action plan, Trump ordered the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development to consult with Collins on using vouchers to support homeless veterans in the Los Angeles metropolitan area and around the nation with respect to this effort. This is an article by Doug Smith and Michael Wilner, once again in the LA Times. Jim, what's your thoughts?
I don't know. We're actually gonna start taking care of our people instead of other countries' people and stuff for once. I'm not opposed to it at all. I'm hoping it's just more than just a housing, putting them and piling them in there. I hope there's some actually facilitating with being like, hey, you know, you guys have VA loans, you have some programs and some things to get you working and housed and jobs, and maybe, you know, on the verge and the thing of what got you homeless and correcting that, whether it's the, you know, drinking or drugs or mentally checking out one way or another kind of thing, or kind of giving up or just getting mad and not being helped, or maybe it's some weird drunken loneliness. I don't know. But as long as it's facilitating at the same time to make everybody better and get them on their feet, and not just a permanent stick you here in some barracks apartment complexy thing, and getting people mentally checked in and actually taking care of our own, I think that's very, very optimal, because it's like your house, right? If you're not taking care of yourself at your living thing, you can't take care of your kids, your wife, your nieces, your nephews, your sisters, your mother-in-law, you know, your mother. You can't take care of anybody else in your family if you're not taking care of your own stuff. And then you can go further out in the family and then be like, hey, you know, a friend or a neighbor or somebody else needed help, and continue on if you start taking care of your own stuff. So I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. First time we're really seeing anybody put together any sort of productive idea behind the homeless crisis that's happening throughout our country. I hope that this is not just LA, that this gets expanded to a little bit of a degree. I definitely think that, we have to make sure that this is paid for effectively. We have to make sure that this is not just a crutch that doesn't actually pull these people out of homelessness and put them back into a productive life. I think that's really important, that we're not just using this as like a solution to a problem that's not actually a solution. That's just simply just a cover up.
You know, mind you, too, I'm one of the few people that does have this. I always let everybody know, not all cops are good, not all cons are bad, not all veterans are good, not all felons are bad. So I another little caveat with this that I like to add, because it's something I've noticed with a few things, being a dumb old Marine, stupid cran eater myself. I don't want to be helping out bad people that are veterans. I will have to actually say this part with it. If it's a rapist, a pedo, a sex trafficker, some killer, a murderer, or whatever, I don't care. Selling drugs to kids. You know what? Screw you. I don't care. I don't care if you cured cancer. I don't want to help you. There's a whole thing with the homelessness stuff, and they're starting to find out a lot of homeless people are not good people. But if we're helping good people that got homeless, and especially veterans, good veterans that are good people, having bad situations, I guess is the best way to articulate this, then yes, we need to do it. But they need to be looking at it too to make sure we're not helping out problems. Because I don't want to cultivate or grow more problems. I don't want more sex offenders out there and stuff just getting all the help that they need, while really there's somebody that's a good person having a bad time, that's a veteran that needs the love, the care, the help, a friend, just someone to talk to, and a place to sleep and eat so they can get back on their feet. So that's another little bit to this that I think that people and everybody else needs to really start looking at, because I think the VA needs to stop helping the problems that are veterans, in my personal opinion.
Well, what we have next, here we go. We have um, Representative Anna Paulina Luna introduces legislation to fully repeal the Patriot Act. Patriot Act does a lot of things, but put in place after 9/11. The act includes three main provisions: expanded surveillance abilities of law enforcement, including by tapping domestic and international phones; easier interagency communication to allow federal agencies to more effectively use all available resources in counterterrorism efforts; and increased penalties for terrorism crimes, and an expanded list of activities which would qualify for terrorism charges. One of the biggest uh, threats to our Constitution is how we allow the government to get information about its citizens, and the fact that we have surveillance and wiretaps and uh, emails that are being collected by our government, and our government listening in on the American public in an effort to stop terrorism, but at the same time, they're spying on everyday citizens without any sort of due process, and without any sort of warrant, or they just have freedom is basically what they've had for a long time, and they've used that freedom to blur the lines of what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. And we've seen that there were some parts of this legislation that did sunset. They finally sunsetted in 2019 after being extended by Barack Obama's administration. What's really interesting is when we see the legislative history. The first time they voted on this, Republicans were in favor of it 211 to no 3. Democrats 145 yes, 62 no. One yes from an independent, one no from an independent, and 10 not voting. And then from the Senate, basically the Senate passed this 98-1, with no Republicans saying no to this bill. So now we've got Republicans that are finally coming to, that are saying, okay, we need to fully get rid of the Patriot Act. It's not right to spy on American citizens, and we've seen this debate kind of taking place, because once you give them an inch, they will always take a mile.
Yeah, they take more than a mile. They take hundreds and thousands of miles. They violate every liberty, freedom, and bit of sovereignty you have. And let's not lie, you saw. So we had that January 6th thing. Everybody gets mad about January 6th. Oh, it's so much worse than this or that. No, there was way worse stuff than a bunch of idiots marching around a building. Yes, idiots broke stuff and everything else. But what did we learn from that? They pick and choose, depending on the administration or whoever's in charge, who the bad guys are domestically, right? Just randomly pick and choose because they don't like what you say or you do. And it may not be you today, but it'll be you the next time, or tomorrow, or the time after that, or whatever. They'll figure some kind of way to violate every right, liberty, and freedom that you have because you have a sign up that says don't trespass or you'll get shot. You know what I mean? Oh, those are gun owners. They're terrible people. Blah, 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 blah. It's too much. Once again, if it's a government thing, it's got a nice title, sounds patriotic, sounds good, but it's just got a bunch of stuff in there that's just convoluted, filthy, terrible, violates every one of your rights, your liberties, your freedoms. The point and the role of any government system is supposed to be what? The infrastructure, security, right? Keep people from coming over and, robbing you and taking your stuff. And then what? To enforce your rights, your liberties, your freedoms, and your sovereignty, not violate them. So the Patriot Act's just another political thing that, good title, bunch of freedom violation crap.
Yeah, and this was, I mean, Title III. This is anti-money laundering to prevent terrorism. We've seen the global debate, especially with cryptocurrency, how cryptocurrency is used, and whether or not the information should have to be disclosed to the federal government when you have large purchases made. I mean, as is right now, there's already disclosures that are made by the bank if you have more than, I think it's like $10,000 in cash
Five,
transactions.
tens, yeah.
Yeah, $10,000 in cash transactions a day. If you make that much, then that transaction is reported to the federal government, and now you might have somebody that's looking into your bank account. I mean, it's just wrong. That's not how America was founded. It's not the intent of America. And then, we have the entrapment that took place in January 6th, which if you there's nothing else, there's no other way to put what went down on January 6th other than entrapment. They allowed them into the Capitol building. They opened the doors. They had informants and people that were a part of the FBI inside this rally, basically encouraging people to enter into the Capitol. And then we saw it again, right? Like the plot to kill Governor Whitmer, right? Like all those people being entrapped, basically an FBI agent, like encouraging people to go along with this plan.
It's like a cop. Hey, I'll race you. And then like, you're speeding. Pull you over.
Yeah. It's entrapment.
Wait a minute.
Entrapment is not legal. Like, and we've allowed this to take place, and we're like, oh well, because we're scared of XYZ, we're going to allow the government to just come in and do whatever the hell they want.
It's constantly losing your freedoms and your rights for the guys, the sound, the noise of safety, the comfort of hearing the word safety. There's no safety in it. I'll decide what's safe for me. I will decide. You should always decide. You don't let a system decide what's safe for you, because what's safe for you today via the system, the establishment, isn't safe for you tomorrow. Or they want more and more safety and to violate more and more of your decision-making and liberties and freedoms and sovereignty. You make the decision what's safe to you.
All right, so we reported last week along these similar lines of the Denver City Council deciding to end its program with a flock surveillance system. This is an article from the Denver Post in April of 2025. There are 111 cameras snapping photos of license plates in Denver. City Council is deciding whether to keep them. Police say pilot program has helped recover stolen cars, but it's also raising privacy and surveillance concerns. Cameras at about 70 intersections across Denver snapped millions of photos of car license plates and flagged suspected stolen vehicles to police in 2024. 8-month pilot program resulted in law enforcement recovering about 170 cars and arresting nearly 300 people. It helped solve homicides, robberies, and hit and runs, according to the Denver Police Department. But as the City Council prepares to decide whether to extend the program for another 2 years, the surveillance gear is raising privacy concerns and questions about whether federal agents could obtain the data for activities like deportations. This is what we talked about last week when it came to City Council deciding not to renew this program. Their reason was simply to protect illegal immigrants. But there's actually, like, the Republicans should be thrilled because, once again, we've eliminated the surveillance aspect, this government surveillance state that we've become in. Now, we just saw there was another article, I didn't pull it up. Denver just put in some speed cameras, caught 2,500 people speeding in the first month. 2,500 tickets in the first month. It's absolutely absurd. If you want to give me a ticket, pull me over. That's my thought.
Yeah, no, we did talk about this last week, and my big complaint was the invasion, and then also the invasion of your privacy, plus the aspect of it kills the social interaction of a community, like, period. Just there's no human interaction. It's all just machines. I think sometimes it's just nullifying everybody, making us kind of blasé and bland, going, yep, whatever, this is this. But I'm glad they're going to take them down. Or they decided to take them down, or they're still arguing about it.
So they decided to take it down, not for the reason that we would have taken it down, but for the reason that they want to protect illegals.
Yeah,
they want to protect the illegal immigrants.
Yeah,
I
I don't get that. It's like, really, you care more about non-citizens than citizens, than people of your own brothers and sisters of your community. You care less about them than you do about strangers. Yet I don't see any of these city council people opening their homes. Do you?
Oh no, not a chance.
Filthy.
I always said just you put the tent city right outside Nancy Pelosi's house, and then open the gates of Nancy Pelosi's house. It's like walls don't work. Well, guess what? Your walls work because you've kept all the homeless out of your front
Except for
yard.
that hammer guy that came in there and hit her husband over the head.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't think that was. I got a whole wealth of
Yeah, I don't think that guy
fun theories on
he
that.
was invited, at least temporarily. Just friends.
Yeah,
Just
well,
friends spooning.
I don't want to get into that without Aaron here because I feel like Aaron has a lot to add to that conversation. So we will put it on the docket for later this week to talk about Nancy Pelosi's husband.
Note on that one.
Yes, I will put a sticky note on here.
Good idea.
But basically, we're becoming a surveillance state similar to what we see over in Europe with cameras everywhere, and I think it just becomes really challenging, especially with what AI can do right now, in terms of like how we have the potential to basically take somebody that we don't like in our community or that is a political threat and conjure up some videos and photos that are completely false or AI generated and throw that individual in prison. I mean, that's where we're heading to.
That's probably going to be the new court cases. You know that, right? The next big lawsuit from Hot Coffee is going to be a handshake that's too hard. That's going to be the next goofy lawsuit.
Yeah.
The McDonald's coffee, it's going to go to handshake's too hard. Oh my God. And then it's going to be like, all right, prove it's not AI. With everything and anything presented as whatever, prove it's not AI. Show me that it's not AI. Show me that it happened in reality.
Yeah.
That's going to be the new defense case, the new thing, the new Twinkie. I was all hyped up on Twinkies, man. I wasn't in my right state of mind. It's going to be the new Twinkie case. Prove it's not AI. Well, the camera shows, the picture show me it's not AI.
All right. Well, here's our last article for the day. This coming from the Hodge twins on Facebook. One of the women accused of stealing and fraudulently casting more than a dozen ballots ahead of last November's election pleaded guilty on Monday. Vicky Stewart, 64, was charged with 34 counts related to the ballot theft scheme, which occurred in the lead up to last year's presidential election. She pleaded guilty to one count of identity theft and one count of forgery in the 21st Judicial District Court. For much of the hearing, she answered Judge Brian Flynn's questions with a simple yes, but when asked why she was willing to accept the plea agreement, she responded, "Because I feel like I am guilty for the part that I played in it." Stewart was charged in November with counts that included forgery, identity theft, and attempts to influence a public servant. According to the arrest affidavit, Stewart and another woman stole more than a dozen ballots from Mesa County residents before they could be delivered to the intended voter. The goal, prosecutors said, was to test the state's voting safeguards. Yeah, okay. The scheme was uncovered when some voters alerted authorities after the Colorado ballot tracking system informed them their ballots were being processed, even though they hadn't received their ballots yet. State officials said 3 of the stolen ballots that were cast fraudulently did make it through the signature verification process and were counted as legitimate votes. At the time of the theft, Stewart was working as a U.S. Postal Service employee in Grand Junction with direct access to ballots that had been sent in the mail in October of 2024. She is friends with the other women charged in this case, Sally Jane Maxidone, also known as Sally Jane Smith. Maxidone appeared in court Thursday for a review hearing. Her case was continued to May 29th.
I don't know, man. Maxidone sounds like a feminine product, first off. Secondly, with this, we can't even trust our own postal workers now. And then the systems. So the systems double check was okay. Like, it's like, hey, a couple of you guys just let you know your ballots went through. And they're like, I didn't see my ballot. So that goofy triple check, annoying, email-y thing actually worked for something for once. She only got one account, but she did a dozen of them. Did the other ladies get charged, or they were just kind of chilling out?
No, the other ladies are charged, and they're still in the case. But
does she still work at the post office? That's the big question.
No,
they laid her off with paid time off.
Probably. So 3 of them made it through the signature verification, which is crazy to me. People were alerting the Secretary of State. Secretary of State looks like she actually did something, or somebody did something, which is kind of crazy. For once.
Nice. That's
probably ignored the millions of illegal immigrants that voted, but no, we're going to stop the one lady that fraudulently put 12 ballots through. But the other thing is that uh, there's a question because nobody's answering this question. What happened to these ballots? And I'm dead serious because this is actually a really important question. So
Okay.
the ballot is not supposed to be identified to the person that voted, right? It's illegal for any ballot to have identifying marks that would at all let you know who voted that ballot.
Right.
So, what did they do with these ballots after they made it through the signature verification process? Because there's no way they pulled them back out if there was no identifying marks and they couldn't identify who it was.
Right. I personally, with the can't identify my ballot thing, I kind of get, yeah, I got mixed thoughts on it because I'm like, no, dude, I voted this way. It is mine. I want you to know that it is mine because I want to make sure my stuff was right in my personal opinion. But yeah, I know I get what you're saying. They just go through and it just looks like every other ballot with a little circle filled in. So
Well, there's got to be. I mean,
I would
it
think
just
math it out.
it's very interesting because once the ballot gets removed from the envelope, there should be no way of identifying
Can't
whose
tell,
ballot
no.
belongs to who.
Yeah.
And it's actually for really good reasons, and it's for your protection. It's for our protection as voters, so that they don't come after the people that voted for Trump in the next go around. They're like, oh, we know exactly who
Making
voted.
sheets and lists of who's and who's.
Yep.
Making gun registration list. I
Yeah.
love voting
Yep.
registrations.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Extra? More Patriot Acts?
That's what they want. What's crazy to me is the fact that this we've had these laws on the book now since 2001 ish, and yet nobody's done anything to attempt to really repeal this. It looks like there was a couple efforts that got shot down over the last 10 years trying to repeal the Patriot Act. But I can't imagine that if you are a serious Republican, that you would not look at this and be like, yeah, it's time to repeal the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
Who did it stop? I mean, like, seriously, I wish, let's see, if we go to Wikipedia, like, did it stop anybody?
I don't
Did
know.
we actually do anything with it, you know?
I think it helped build more of an anonymous complaining culture. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say here? Like, I think the only thing it's really done is it's made it more and more smaller organizations, right down to like code enforcement for the cities and stuff, where it's like anonymous phone call for your safety. It's fine. We'll come out and the people are guilty just right off the bat because you said some kind of thing to the city.
Yeah, I mean, it's fear driven, right? It's like everything with COVID. I mean, the vast majority of the public, and I recall this time, the vast majority of the public was all on board with the Patriot Act. Why? Because, well, planes just flew into buildings in the United States. We had to find out who it was. Like, that was the message that was being preached to the broader community. And so, of course, the broader community is like, yeah, I'm scared of the Islamic extremists that are in town, which we probably should be, and there's plenty of them all over the country. But we've had the Patriot Act and done absolutely nothing with it. So what good is it to keep it and spy on American citizens when it hasn't done its job anyways? I mean, I want to know why Denver in the state of Colorado is housing more Islamic extremists than pretty much anywhere else in the country, and nobody's batting an eye, and nobody even knows.
That's because Colorado, to be frank, at least in my opinion and what I've been noticing, it's kind of a test bed. I don't know how to articulate as far as politics and everything. We got about 6 million people, right? Less than the whole state has less than the population of LA, to put it in a perspective to kind of get the size of things. And it seems to always be kind of a political test bed, or just testing things out to see, because the population's just enough to see a good number of people to look at it. I know, put your aluminum foil hats on. And it can keep it under control if people get too pissy and too mad about something, in my opinion. But it's enough to be like, all right, can we push it in a bigger population? Can we do more of this crap somewhere else? How long can we lock down X amount of people with things? How many of these can we bring in? How much illegal stuff? How many pushing and violating their rights? There's a reason Colorado has the most restrictive gun laws in the country. You know what I mean? It's because they can test it out here and they can keep it kind of under control if people get too pissy and mad and grumpy, or decide to be like, you know what? I'm going to stand up today and I'm sick of it. So I I think it's just to test things out most of the time here because it's a pretty diverse political spectrum. It is a fairly purplish state, no matter what you do think. It does lean more to the left as of late, but it does do the old swingy pendulum thing. So it is a pretty good little political test bed in my perception. It's not an it's just an opinion. It's just what I've been noticing with it where you're like, "Whoa, what a weird thing to
Well,
do."
the truth is that this state is actually, you are correct. It's actually pretty dang purple. The problem is that the media and everybody has convinced the conservative voter that there's no chance the conservatives are going to win. So what happens? The conservative voter stays home. If every conservative casts a ballot in the state, and the Secretary of State and the local county officials did not uh, interfere in the election in any way, shape, or form, it would actually be pretty dead center.
Well, that's the thing with most of the because it's like a smaller version of the whole country with the political diversity here. So it's easy to kind of test things out. But that's the thing though too. What does the system do? Classically, the establishment always does what? It schedules you out. We can take local stuff. Hey man, come here Tuesday at 11. You can tell your local government how mad you are about them overtaxing you or doing a bunch of stuff without your permission. Tuesday at 11 while you're at work. Or they price you out. Hey, it's a fee, it's a cost. You're going to have to miss work plus pay this to show up to that. Oh, there's a dress code. You got to be here. Did you not get an invitation? You didn't RSVP from the invitation you got and had to register for, and it costs $300 to come here for this dinner thing to talk to them, to let them know. They price you out. Or they just discourage you, which is just, oh, it's not going to matter no matter what you do. So screw it, take the beating and just keep going. Keep working hard and keep paying for everything because, there's lots of public and social freaking programs and welfares and food stamps and crap you got to pay for other people to do nothing while you just get to constantly be busy. And they keep you too busy on top of it.
Well, this has been Spiritual Insurgency. Join us every day right here on Rumble or YouTube. Have a great day. God bless.
Want it better, be better.